Welcome to the mind of Lancescurv, the most creatively profound man in cyberspace.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Lancescurv. We're very relaxed here and laid back, and I'm having an enjoyable day. I mean, what more could I say? We're going to talk about something tonight that is very, very important. And the title of the show is Beware of the Company You Keep. And growing up, most of the time, you'll hear this from elders, parents, grandparents, aunts, extended family, anybody outside of your inner circle. You better be careful. Although when you get older, you know people in your inner circle can be the same way, but you just have to be careful. And if you look at the banner, you'll see women standing there with smiles on their faces, but they have daggers in their hands. So true. And the longer you live life, the more you find this out to be true. I want to introduce some family here, someone who's always on the shows, H.E.R.R, H-E-R-R. How are you doing, my sister?
I am doing very, very well, and thank you for the introduction. I appreciate you.
Always, always. We were speaking a little earlier, and all of the conversations that we have, I have to say, are like they spawn talk shows. Because as we were saying, you think before you talk. You think before you express yourself, and many people do not do that. And that makes for a really in-depth exchange. And those of us who've lived life, like I said, when you think about it, in that particular topic, and we had a show we did before on spiritual warfare, which was like totally dynamic. Everybody loved it. Everybody loved you. And this is going to be the same thing. And of course, we're going to touch on that. How can you have a deep conversation and not speak on spiritual warfare when that is at the bottom of it all? You see, if we're not aware of the spiritual planes, which some of us have different degrees of it, it's like painting black paint on your windshield of your car and going out for a drive at night. It's just a matter of time before you have a disaster. So as we were speaking before to start it out, we were speaking about, it's something simple, and it's just something that many people have gone through. You're online, you're on social media, you know people in your inner circle that you know. You might not be around them a whole lot, but you know them. They may be close or further. Everybody has a certain proximity to you in your life. But when you have somebody that you know that knows your phone number, that knows you, but they get online and they add you in a group chat, a group where, especially on WhatsApp and other apps, where your number is revealed, but you didn't give them permission. And it's like, I think that is so rude. Like, why would you do that? Because other people can see your number. You might not want those notifications coming around all the time. Bing, 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 bing. Every time that somebody leaves a message. But you would think that a person would respect you enough and have enough couth and enough manners and enough awareness to ask you first. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that is something that I've dealt with for years, because I remember when several years ago, and it just didn't happen amongst so-called friends or frenemies. It also happened amongst colleagues, where people feel very comfortable without asking for a person's permission to include someone in a group's text, whether it was some sort of spiritual sharing, some sort of affirmation, if it could be something in reference to, oh, I like this, let me send it to everyone. And so they start clicking off on their phone. Next thing you know, you're receiving something, and then you see all of these other added numbers that you have no idea who these persons or people are. And every time someone responds to the text, everyone gets a ping. And so I remember one time telling someone, I appreciate what you sent me. It's very spiritual, gospel, all of the things. Hallelujah, praise. they seem to have felt some kind of way when I said, can you do me a favor and take me off the group chat? Because there's no way that one person can respond without everyone getting a responsive message. So that can be annoying. And it's not just that. I was getting it different hours of the night, and it was also disturbing my peace with regards to the time zone, because this wasn't only this time zone, but it was other time zones too. So I would get pings at 5 in the morning, in the middle of the night. And I was just like, I didn't know back then, but I know now that I want to ask people for their permission in any and everything that I do, because and I don't think people do it purposely. Habits are meant to be broken, right? Whatever those habits are. And we create habits for our habitat. So my thing now is I don't want to feel like, whether I'm with any of my family members or associates or anyone I come across, I don't want to feel like just because I have your number or access to you, that I totally have access to you in a way where I feel like I don't have to ask for your permission. I'm finding it to be comfortable for me, and it sits well with me to not just call people or not just text people, say, hey, how are you? Just leading and opening with a better way, because we are living in such a mental, it's like someone sitting on our head type of environment, and we're trying to lift it and live our lives and do what we need to do. But at the same time, it's that struggle, not just mentally, spiritually, emotionally, balancing so many things.
Yes.
It can be very mentally consuming. It's like trying to shop in a very crowded supermarket with these different carts all over the place, and people standing in limbo and trying to figure out, should I buy this or should I buy that? You can be so much in your mental state that you forget the power within, which is your spiritual state, and your
Yes.
mindset that tries to control you and speak to you when you should be speaking to it. Does that make of a good
It, does.
response?
It makes sense. That's a good response. Can you hear me? Did I mute myself?
I can hear you. Yes.
Oh, okay. Just as long as it's clear. I got so many buttons and different things going on. Yes. So let me just say to the public, which I wasn't going to say really anything much, but yeah, there are some really um how could I say it? I have to do it where I think with my words, but and now first let me just acknowledge Giant Gain who's come in, and who else is here? Let me look. Kofi the African Child, Melissa, thank you for being here. This may not have at first as many viewers, but as things circulate, it's going to be a good thing. I just want to say I've been put in a position which, let's talk about, not to change the subject, I just want to say this officially without getting into super specifics. The story of the donkey. Don't know if you heard it before. There was a donkey that thought he had a lot of friends, knew he had a few enemies, but they were this goes along with the story, but with the title. Now the donkey was walking along around many people who he felt he can trust, and the donkey fell into a ditch. So the donkey now looked to his friends, who he thought he was friends, to help him out, to support him. But they all started to pick up rocks and throw the rocks at the donkey, hitting him in the head, big cinder block looking stones. It's like, wait a second. I thought you all were my friends. What are you doing this to me for? The true colors came out. They took the jewelry that the donkey was wearing. I'm making up the story now a little more. They went into the donkey's pockets as if he had pants. They took his money, but they kept hitting him with stones. And those who he thought cared for him had a twisted, hateful look because all along they were jealous of the donkey. But the donkey didn't have much. The donkey had peace of mind in his life and thought that he arrived at a place of peace that the friends didn't like. So they kept hitting him with stones. But now, as he was hit with stones, they were so much in a venomous rage to hurt him that the stones that they threw filled up the ditch, and the donkey was a little wounded, but he walked out. And the people who threw the stones realized that the donkey, although set back a little bit, now knew who his friends were and who his enemies were even more so. So in that, he knew where the attacks came from. Now he was good. So me being recently the donkey with artwork and writing and a website that can't be touched, caught a few bruises. But as people can see, he came back. Now, with those things that the donkey had on him, that he couldn't figure out why he wasn't progressing, the shadow banning, the stuck subscribers that wouldn't grow. He's free from that now. The amenities that can come now with a new free platform and a good name that's been out there for years with a website that can't be touched. So that being said, if you read between the lines, I never fretted. I know who's who, and I'm free to grow really fast with the saved content that can't be destroyed. Lancescurv.com. Quick, like a cat when you throw him up or try to push him over the edge of something, he adapts and lands on his feet once again. Take a little time to get the numbers up, but come check me in a month. The donkey came out of the ditch because of the stones thrown. So with nothing hindering this new channel and acting accordingly on it to give nobody a reason on this particular platform to flag or to hold it back or to say hate speech, because there will be none that's perceived that way. There will be nothing as far as the words that others would come on and use to try to hold it back. So we're having a good time. Lancescurv.com, and I dropped a link to this channel in the chat room. Come on in and subscribe. Business as usual. I know the game. Business as usual every day. Let's see how fast we will grow with nothing against us. And I think that my sister fell off. And now somebody is actually calling me on the phone, and I can't receive that call. But she fell off. Hopefully she'll come back on. Awful. You know what I mean? And if ever now, I'm on the actual phone, so if the sound kind of goes in and out, let me know. But I got everything rigged up good. Landed on my feet, and everything else is still there. You know what I mean? So, just like Giant Gain said, steamrolling them bees. So I'm going to wait for my sister to come back on in. She fell off, but in the meantime, I'll continue to speak on certain things. And that's not the real reason why I had the show Beware of the Company You Keep, but the more I see it, okay, she's back. Beautiful. Beautiful. You fell off, but you're back. No problem. Those things happen, my sister. So yeah, in a sense, that's the deal. And to wrap that up, it was smooth sailing because I know this game well. I know the ins and outs of it well. A misjudgment was done on my part out of trust. You can't trust everybody. And so if that's all that can be done, wow. It's like a mosquito bite compared to a knockout blow by Mike Tyson. You hit me with a mosquito bite now. Now it's my time to hit. But my dear sister, before I cut you off so rudely, I just had to tell that story. But let's talk. Let's get down in it. And thank you, Giant Game.
You're an amazing storyteller. So listening to you, I drift into your storytelling. It's not that you're taking up any time away. I'm quite sure the people in the chat are loving it as well. Shabbat shalom to everyone. Happy,
Yes.
beautiful, blessed, and highly favored breath of life Saturday
Thank you.
to everyone. Because the Most High did not have to do it, but He did. He, she did.
That's
Or should
right.
I say
That's right.
she, because one cannot be with the other without the other.
There you
Like
go.
the
There you
sun
go.
cannot be without the moon cannot be without the sun. Man
That's right.
cannot be without woman, and woman cannot be without man. There's an order in life, of life, about life,
Tell it.
with life.
Tell it.
We are naturers and we are nurturers. And when things are in order, not saying they're going to be perfect, but they're not as imperfect. We won't have to struggle as much when we pay attention, when we put the work in, when we stop complaining and find solutions for the situation,
There you
because
go.
our Creator has given us everything inside to take what comes our way. We just have to stop looking outside of ourselves and looking for someone else to save us. And I believe I know I'm probably going another direction, but it's all relative.
It's okay. Flow.
We, some of us, because I don't like to say we, some of us, a large majority of us, are believing still to this day in 2024 that somebody's going to save us because of what we've been given, what we've been taught, what we've been taken into and taken out of, and what we've been stripped from. And when you start connecting the dots and sort of keeping it simple, stupid type of, wait a minute, this is not that complicated. His yoke and his burden, he, she told us. I do believe we make things hard in our lives with our disobedience. And I'm not looking for anyone to agree with me. I can only speak from my experience in my life. Yes, the Most High Mother and Father is a lot of those things that we read in that parable, Bible. A lot of people don't believe in it because it was scrambled like the people it was written for. But at the end of the day, people do what works for you, what allows you to lay your head on your pillow. If you don't have a pillow, if you just lay your head on a mattress or a carpeted floor, wherever you can gather to connect within yourself. Because Lance and I speak often, and I said to myself, while I spend time with myself, the little g God in me, the same God that created me is the same God that is in me. Who am I to complain about anything? All of my resources, everything that I need is literally, I'm standing on it. Whether I'm inside of my dwelling and feeling more protected than when I step out in nature. I don't want to have a fear like mindset because that is the open enemy's playground. Change your mind, you change your life. How many times have we heard that? But how many of us really applied it? There's many ways of reaching who you are. What ways are you willing and what are you willing to give up, sacrifice to get to where you need to be as an individual? Minus your husband, minus your boyfriend, minus your bank account, minus your degrees, minus your kids if you have any, minus all of those external things that we accumulate and we feel like that's what makes us. But does it really?
Right.
Does it really? The friends you accumulate, are they really your friends? Can you call them at 3 o'clock in the morning? Will they come drive and pick you up knowing they got to be to work at 8, 9 o'clock? Those type of friends are hard to come by. Somebody who's really going to be there for you. Do you have a family member that you can call on when you are down and out? I can speak because I've been that person for others. So this life is deep and it's special. And like our creator, mother and father says to us, there's a separation, but there's also judgment upon the people. And I'll mention a quote from Dr. UMAR, child psychologist doctorate. I admire him. He stated, if there is a so-called rapture or a JESUS, he's coming back here to whoop some BLACKASSES.
Yes, indeed.
Because we are out of order. We have forgotten who we are, and we have become so disobedient, so stiff necked, so into ourselves that we have forgotten this time that we have needs to be utilized properly. Time is here, but time is also up. Time knows what to do, but do we?
Wow.
Are
And
you
with
still
every bit
there,
of time,
Lance?
yes, yes. With every bit of time that we have, there's something that needs to be done. And the sad part about it is many of us piddle away the time that we have in the hedonistic endeavors that take us away from not only our destiny, but our mission. Many of us have the energy, we have the dormant power only when we live right, and we waste what little we have on pursuits that won't last. See, we run after the degrees, which is fine if you're living balanced. We run after the status in the world, which is fleeting at best, especially when you realize that life is like a flame. You're here today and gone tomorrow. And it should be that way. But it shouldn't be where you're here today and you go tomorrow and you're gone tomorrow. And nothing was lit. Also, they say one candle can light 1,000 flames. It can light 1,000,000 flames. But because we misdirect the energy that we have, we don't light any flames at all. We actually burn our own wax down. And that's not very fulfilling. But when many of us see one who is chosen, one who has light, we look at ourselves and realize what we're not doing. Not that we're supposed to do the same thing that the next person's doing, but at least pursue finding out what your mission is, and you'll find out what your destiny is. And even though some of our lights, our flames, can be here today and go tomorrow, at least we left a mark to light the flame and the fire in everyone else. Malcolm X did what he was supposed to do. Dr. Martin Luther King learned of what he's supposed to do, and he made corrections in his speeches. Marcus Garvey did what he was supposed to do. And the forces that were there, diametrically opposed to them, were activated because, see, that was their mission. And they had their mission. And now that they did the inspiring, because to take Malcolm X as an example, long before social media, in the ease of getting your face out there, he did it the hard way. And even before he became that name, he was just another nondescript Negro messing with drugs, home invasions, hustles, low vibrational. But he heard a word that rose him up to utilize the potential that he had. And now that he has transitioned, he lit the flame in so many other people decades later to this day. And it's a shame that we have people here who are living and breathing and didn't take from the flame to continue on. And so for me, personally, it's not about the status. It's not about the likes. It's about the name you built that when mentioned, it inspires. Because you can take away all the books that wrote about Malcolm X. You can take away all the TV shows, documentaries, and movies written about him. But you cannot erase the memory and the flames on the candles that weren't lit that he shared his life with. So when you understand those deeper truths, and when things happen to you like recently happened to me, it makes you wonder, how could anybody think that they can derive satisfaction when your spiritual momentum and energies are right on course where it's supposed to be? We all have a destiny, but will we really meet that righteous destiny? We all have a mission, but will we embrace it? And I think it's sad that so many people in this matrix seek a false status in this world that has been presented to us, because we have so many social media revolutionaries that are not doing anything in the outside world with any consistency except to hear themselves speak, get the ego satisfaction, and you didn't do a damn thing. No commitment, no dedication. But those are the ones who will seek to tear you down in a way that will not affect you, because you've been doing what you've been doing from the day you were born, and will continue to do so with ease long after their stalling and running in place is over. Sometimes we drive an automobile that has a standard shift, a stick shift. And sometimes we got to get the feet together right on the clutch and on the brake and let off and ease off and push down on the gas. And sometimes you can make the mistake with the one foot and push down on the gas and on the brake at the same time. One gives you a push to go forward and one slows you down. How many of us are living this way, where the time is going by? Time is moving on. And we're putting our foot on the gas, and we're putting our foot also on the brake, going nowhere. How much satisfaction would that be to know that you have a mission, and every day that we move toward our destiny of transitioning on this earth, which doesn't mean death, but we go into that knowing that we didn't do what we were supposed to do. If you have peace, knowing that you did the right thing, and you have the tranquility, and every day brings joy as you connect to your Creator, there is no bit of chaos that can be brought to you to upset you if you are not rooted in all things worldly. When I went out into my backyard earlier today, and I'm up in the mountains, I could look at the structure that was built and marvel at it and beat my chest and say, I built this. I designed this. It's paid for. I could say those things. But no, I turned my back on the house and I looked at the tree, at the brilliance of the ants scaling it, to see how wonderfully made they are. But beyond that, I looked at how they marched in order in a row of three. Didn't know where they were going, but everywhere I walked, it was this row of three ants coming from way down in the backyard and from in the bushes and up this tree. And I said to myself, and I'll shut up after this, if ants could follow order and move in unison. What happened to us who are melanated, who have some sense, but we can never seem to love each other, never seem to support each other, and always have a hedonistic agenda to the delight of those who brainwashed us? As brilliant as we can be, as rhythmatic as we can dance, any talent, any field of endeavor in the world, we're there. And we're happy to serve the other, who cares not for us except to use us for our talents and abilities and take credit for it afterward. We're all right then. With Mr. Charlie, we're okay. But the bottom line is, why can't we do for self? Because we have it all, but we're malfunctioning, dysfunctional, delusional, and heading in the wrong way. And yes, as strong as we are, and as much numbers as we have, because where I live, that's all I see. You may see a sprinkling every other week of the other. And I say to myself, with all of this might, we don't really want to be who we are. We want to change ourselves. We want to come out of who we are. And that's the ultimate insult to the one who created us. That he, she, he, that energy, the blending of male and female, that work in unison, unlike many of us who watch these videos that turn us against each other. If we were to really get it together and rule in love, we would be what we were supposed to be as the mightiest and the original people, the mightiest who taught everybody else what they know. But now we're their servant. We're a happy slave to those who robbed and pillaged from us. I can go on that vein all night. I just wanted to share that. It's a shame because time is running short. I know I have been doing what I'm supposed to do. You can't take that away. I've lit many candles, and I'm happy about that. Social media has caused us to stall the real revolution because all we're doing is talking. But we're not vibrating. We're not meditating. We're not trying to go higher. We're trying to get likes. We're trying to get subscribers. We're trying to be seen more. And we don't like it when we see someone who's real, that shines the light on us in our narcissism, in our venom, as we try to paint a picture of being somebody who we're not. You're not at peace. And it causes you to go after your brother. But then when you realize you landed on your feet, I will do this wherever I'm needed to the day that I transition. And I'm a happy servant, not for the one who is oppressing, but for my people who know who they are, but not for the people who want to waste time. My sister here is dynamic. Those who are here in the chat room, like Sister Giant Gain, they're really about it. And I'll rock with you, but I'm not going to waste time that the Creator gave me on foolishness, because most people, they know better, but they do not want to do better. And I ain't going nowhere. Sister, sorry to bore you. Sorry to put you to sleep.
Absolutely not. As I said, with your stories, I venture into it mentally. I listen to you with my eyes closed. And what my energy is bringing me is right now that bringing the clown mentality that a lot of our folks have. And I say folks, FOKES, because you can put a J in front of that. And like people look at a lot of us as a joke. We have become the modern day monstros. That's what they call it, minstrels, monstros,
Minstrels, yes.
minstrels, and that bring in the clown mentality We all think we have a lot of time, but we really don't. And with the disrespectful time that is given to us, we have a time that we come into this portal, which is through our parents. Your dad, your mom got together. Your dad entered into your mother's portal, however it was, whether it was with or without alcohol, right? Conscious or subconsciously.
Exactly.
You have a reason why you're here. And when you are born, they don't write that time down for nothing. It's there for a reason. Everything is recorded, just like everything we do in life is recorded. One has to ask themselves, what is more important, that we please and continue to please the captive puppet masters that love to keep their hands in our backside, moving us around on this grand chessboard? Or are you going to really tap in and visit those places within yourself so that you can cleanse? Some of us got our closets all beautifully organized. We build our shelves. We're like, oh, I'm putting here, this. Oh, I'm putting my Gucci bag here, and I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to put that there. But then you have that one particular bag or box in the closet that you really don't touch, that you really need to look into, because there's a lot of stuff in there, a lot of variables in there that maybe you need to clean out. And some of us are so scattered in our brains because we don't take time to just simmer it down. I
Yes.
used to always say to friends of mine, there's a time for a bath and there's a time for a shower. You want to clear the noise out. And there's no perfect way to do anything, just like I do truly believe there's no perfect diet. There's no perfect way of eating. There's no perfect way of doing anything because we are not all alike. So what works for one is not going to work for the other. This is why we can learn from nature and the creation of everything that our creator has given us on this planet. The universe, the stars, the moon, the planets, whatever. Animals are obedient. They do things in order. You can see the giraffe, the lion, the gazelle, whatever is sharing the same space. Do you see them fighting? Have you ever seen a giraffe fighting with a monkey and vice
Never.
versa? But they
Right.
know that it's a time to hunt. They know that they can exist in the environment they are in without fighting because they know that their creator has made room for them and everything is in order. Just sit and watch nature, people. People in the room, pass it on. Sit and watch nature as the wind speaks to the trees and the leaves know when to grow. The birds know when to chirp. Because nature speaks to us like our bodies speak to us every day. Nature is speaking to nature and it knows what to
Yeah.
do. They don't have to be told what to do. The ants know what to do. They don't have to be told what to do, where to go, how to do it. But why is it a people that want to be led, whether it's religion, whether it's separating people through throwing race in, and all these other complicated spell binding, keep you not connecting and operating from your buttocks area versus keeping you aligned in your chakras? That's important. But you're not going to be able to do that if you're standing in the line of the golden arches and all the other places that keep you calcified. Because if Black folks don't think they can be calcified, you got another thing coming. It's not just the other side. Melanin is in all of us, even the bright ones. So I think people have to be retaught, relearned, but you have to be open to this. You have to be open to want to recognize certain things within you that you want to change, that change is constant, it's infinite. Just like you getting up every morning, making the decision to be on time to go to work. it's so we want to be so pleasing, and this is just me speaking from my experience. I can't speak for anyone else. This is totally me speaking from my experience. I put a lot of energy, and still to this day, I put a lot of energy into making sure I'm at work on time, because I get to work 30 minutes early. Making sure that I'm pleasing, making sure that when I was in college, I got the right grades, whether it was my electives or my core courses. I made sure I was a A and B. If I got a C, I was mad. We don't take that same energy pleasing to do the research to get whatever done. We do it to get an external. Everything we do, basically what I'm saying is, without going too deep, we do everything external because it's so easy and superficial. Whether it's the B to the B to the L's or the lashes, the wigs, whatever. I'm not knocking whatever form of whatever people want to do. That's not my purpose here. Um, but I bring all of that up is to say a lot of things that I have done, it's been external. But it's when I sat with myself, when all of these external things, whether it was a car, a house, getting a man, not getting a man, having so-called friends and going through things and realizing that I was and I am different. My mother and father, my spiritual mother and father made me different. Even from my DNA sharers. I'm taking that from your page, Lance. I hope I could borrow that.
Of course, of course. That's the ultimate compliment. I got a
Absolutely.
few from you too.
Right. So this is a question I want to ask, and I know I'm never all over the place. Everything that I say is relevant. This is a question I asked myself today as I was sipping on my cup of coffee that was very late in the day. I love coffee. And that's one of the things that I eventually have to get up off of because I know coffee's not my best friend, right? But I asked myself as I was sipping very hot, and I said, can someone who is not where they want to be in their life, and their life is not as fulfilling as they want it to be, whether it's work, children, marriage, not marriage, single, not being where they want to be, finances, whatever. Can they find room in their spirit and their mind to give someone who is elevated, inspiring to do much better than where they are? Can they give them good advice? Can they be there for them even though they are not there? Can you find that time, that space, and that spirit within yourself to give the best advice to someone, even though you don't have it?
Yes. It all depends on the integrity of the person. That's where it starts. Because the best painters, if you follow them, you'll see that their paint is peeling oftentimes in their own house. The best plumbers, if you look up under that kitchen sink, it might be damp and you might see a few leaky pipes. That mechanic sometimes drives a car that is not maintained as well because he knows that he can fix it anytime. So when you're in a place of not being at your best, you can still give the best advice only if you have the proper integrity, that you don't get venomous toward the person who you know you can help, even though you may not be in the ultimate place or the best place, vibrating as high as you can. You know, I don't drink, but I've been in bars. I never really partied in clubs, but for many years I've worked the door and been a bouncer. Not always the tallest bouncer, but one that was very effective with the verbal skills, and I have a little bit of strength to me. And I found that the most profound advice that I received oftentimes came from a drunk. The wisest advice that I've gotten on relationships came from strippers and prostitutes. Now, I must say that I never requested the services of them, but I drove people around at one time in my dollar van, and in New York City, and I got a chance to talk to many people. This is why I know there's so much that I've learned from those people who the world would consider fragmented or vibrating lower. It doesn't mean that you don't have the wisdom. Just because you're eating off of a clean hubcap, something that's used to be pushed up on a tire to make it look not so raw, doesn't mean that in that hubcap there's not a gourmet 5-star meal. And sometimes we can dine on the finest of china, and it's a microwave, cheap TV dinner that just we use to knock off hunger before we go to sleep. It all depends on the integrity of the person. To feel good knowing that I'm not where this person is going to be, but who am I to hold back what I've learned the hard way? That I can't give to them something that will catapult them probably higher than I've ever been. But they've got to understand that when you do that, there's an energy and there's a residual blessing that will come back to you, maybe in ways that you can't see right now. So many times, and I've used this analogy before, where approaching 61 years old in April, I know what the book in my life of 59 was because I've completed that year. I'm soon to, in another less than 2 months, as far as the days are concerned, complete the chapter of the year 60 in my life if I'm blessed to hit 61. But there are many people who know the full dynamics of their chapters, 58, 57, 56, 55. And they'll see somebody coming along at 22 who may pretty much have it together better than that person who is 60, who on the surface looks like, oh, you got your house, but you're 60. Now, it's not about materialism. But then they'll see that 22-year-old doing better at 22 than they were doing at 22. And all of a sudden, without the integrity, here comes the resentment. And instead of giving them advice, they learn the hard way that delayed their ascension in the world because of no integrity. Just like a person that you may not like on sight asking you for directions, they'll give that 22-year-old the wrong directions because of the venom of them feeling that I should have been further along at 22 instead of saying, you know what? I made some hedonistically driven decisions that kept me from ascending more. But I'm going to help this young sister or this young brother because I want to see them do good. This is me showing how grateful I am to what little I may have of status, material goods, or spiritual wisdom. What scraps of wisdom I can give you, I'll give you, and I know it's right because of my integrity. And although you may not know me a year or 2 or 3 from now, we're sharing this moment now, that person giving the advice, at least they will understand that they put themselves in a better position by sharing something with a kind heart, with a loving heart to someone who might even be a stranger. And that stranger will go on to do great things with the things that you've learned the hard way, which will elevate you in your transition. But too many of us are in the here and now. There is no here and now. There is no there. We get caught up in this dynamic of time and space on this level when I always say it and I realize it, that this is, let me get the right words. This is a placement exam. These few little years that we live. This is a placement exam for eternity. Because if you hold on to this, as fleeting as it is, see, 2 years ago, I was 20 years old. I don't really mean that, but that's the way it felt. I remember how I felt. I remember how I looked. I looked at myself in the mirror today and I said, that body that I had at 20, what happened? Even though I still think I'm looking good for my age. But if I held on to that, I'd have a pocket full of blue pills. If I held on to that, I would have a medicine cabinet full of black dye. Even though I shaved my hair, I would be caught up on this level, and I would see young men and try to compete with them in an unnecessary way in a battle that I can't win. Let it go. Light the other candles. You'll live on forever. Not on this level. But if you light the other candles, and they will pay homage to you, that older man gave me some good advice, and I don't know when he left this world, but it's living on inside of me. Like the old man who came to my dwelling one day, and he was the boyfriend, even though he was an older man. He had to be in his 70s. He had a relationship with an adopted grandmother. Not grandmother, I'm sorry, godmother. She lived around the corner from us, and she wasn't the actual godmother. I had one too. But we said, you're my godmother too. And so this man, who I will say his name, Julius, and I have a photo of him that night that he came by where I lived, and when he rang the bell, I had a house full. Not really a house full, but I had about 5 or 6 others who were there with me, where I was the only male. And one came to the door and let him in, just opened the door for him, which they shouldn't have done that. Because when he came inside, he realized by the state of undress that the young ladies were in that something was going on that was quite private. So he saw me and he pulled me back into the foyer with a smirk on his face. He said, I'm just coming by to see you because I'm in town. He's been a merchant seaman all his life, always traveling. And I think even as he was older, he still did that and was all over the place, hence the wisdom that he had. And he told me while the door was cracked and he saw what was going on in there. He was giggling a little bit and he said, Lance, I was also a young man too. There's nothing new under the sun. And there's nothing that you're doing now that I haven't experienced. But I want to tell you one thing that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. He says, I'm getting up there and I know my time is near. But I've enjoyed a full life, and the most enjoyable times of my life were the recent years. Not the years in which I had the company of many young ladies. That was fun for the time by my limited thinking. But I've expanded, and I want to tell you this, that the older you get on a chronological level is the more and more that you're going to want to be by yourself. Not by yourself as a hermit, but by yourself and away from those frivolous people who are so carnal, who, when the wind blows, they go left, and when the wind blows again, they go right, who have no purpose, no destiny, no drive to ascend. He said, listen, I've done a little bit of everything in this life, except mess around with men or mess around with heavy drugs. And I'm telling you, not that I fear you'll never understand this. I just want you to remember this. And that was back, I would say, I'll pin it down to the year. I think I was 23, and this was 1986. I always lived clean, but I couldn't say no to the young ladies. And now here I am in 2024. And I remember that like it was not yesterday, but 2 hours ago. And it went by so quick. And just the other day, like Julius requested, when you see a young man or a young woman who needs this information. You don't have to mention my name, just pass it on. And the other day, I saw a young man hanging around with other young men. He was getting ready to get in the van soon, looking for the right van. And I know him. Don't know his name, but he's one of those people who you see all the time and you talk a little bit in passing and you move on. And the other guys were just so hell bent on checking out the physical attributes of the young ladies out here, which in Africa, it could really be something. If you can't control yourself, that will be a distraction. And so I changed it around a little bit because he always looked up to me. And he remembers my name, but I don't remember his. Lance, I liked the video you did the other day. I was, thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you. I said, come here, man. Because it didn't seem as though he was really into the ogling of the sisters' physical charms. But he was still riding the fence. So I told him the same thing. And he says, thank you, Lance. He says, I'm always going to remember that. And I said, well, somebody did it for me. Because that man at that time didn't say, oh, you're wrong. Oh, you should stop this, because he knows that we all go through phases from where we are in life. But he dropped something on me. And every time I find myself by myself away from foolishness, away from the hedonistic things that won't let you pass the exam, the placement exam for eternity, I'd rather stay home and sleep an extra hour or walk by myself. But if you have the integrity to also pass along that information and be that person who's seeking to go higher on a spiritual level, mental level, cerebral level, and you can still enjoy the delights of the body. Meaning that if you go to my Instagram on Lancescurv, I enjoyed 2 big things of ice cream. I shouldn't be eating that, but I said, you know what? I'm going to live. But it didn't rule me. I probably won't taste ice cream for another 2 years. But the bottom line is that I know where I stand and I'm happy where I am. And that's why the major attacks must come. Don't ever pity yourself and say, oh, why is this happening to me? Oh God, I lost so much. No, it means you're doing the right thing. And what is the right thing? You're passing the exam. Because if you're not attacked, if you don't go through things, that means the negative forces have you. And when it comes time to take that exam, because now's the test, the little pre-test to see where you stand. When it comes time to take that huge exam off the lessons that you should have learned in these quick 80, 90, 100 years, even if you live to 1,000 years, it's no comparison from where you're going to be in eternity. So I look at things different. I experience, and you move on. But nothing here holds me anymore. This beautiful home that I'm in the process of building is part of the experience. I'm like, I'm not going to be here one day, but I'm here tonight. Let me enjoy it. One day, somebody else will say, who built this place? And not even know my name. I'm not looking for the immortality on things that crumble. I'm looking for the ascension into a plane where the righteous things and attributes that you have will always keep you afloat. I can tell the dirtiest joke and make you laugh. I still will have shows sometime on other channels where I'll let it all hang out, because we have to laugh in the trenches of life. But that's not my only focus, and there's no way you can talk like this if you're a fool either. See, I see a lot of things, and I'm going to get into my gifts. And my gifts are not just writing and drawing and talking, but conveying what I see on the spiritual level, because at this age, I'm a lot further than I was even 2 years ago. And the stuff that I've been through, like the donkey that got knocked in the hole, those rocks helped me to step up out of it. And you kept throwing the rocks. Now there's a whole mountain of rocks, and I'm standing high over everything with a broader spiritual view. And I'll shut up right now because I know you got something to say, and I'm done for now.
Never be done. Oh my gosh. As I'm listening to you, I'm like, all those rocks that were thrown and are thrown, those are builders. People can build off those rocks, because if they don't hit you, they're going to fall below your foot. And so you can
Exactly.
use those bricks that people used as weaponry against you as reminders. And you can take those bricks and build you a nice little campfire in your backyard. Do what needs to be done to get you through. But I love your analogy of the prepping test and the examination. I feel like some people, we all have a point in our lives where we need to prepare for the examination, not the one that you have to fast for to see your physician, but your spiritual and your mental and where your heart is examination. Because those three right there are very, very important. They set the tone, in my opinion, for your life experiences. Who are you when the camera's not rolling? And the camera's meaning social media, what you put up, whether it's filtered or unfiltered. All these platforms, these digital platforms, are you going to allow them to make an A to the I out of you? Because it's coming to a point where you have to fortify your mind, your heart, and your spirit and have the discipline that's needed, because you're going to have to learn how to deal with yourself. It's like that candle that's lit in the dark. You'll be able to see that from the universe, because that's how lit your candle needs to be inside, where no matter what diaspora you are in, that candle will be seen in the dark. And as Lance mentioned, you being able to deal with, are we still on?
Yes, we're still on.
Okay.
I just
As
muted
I,
my side because of the echo, and I'm moving some things around on the table, but I'm right here with you.
oh, that's fine. As Lance had mentioned, we are going to have to find a way. Well, we don't have to. We can free will do what we want. But for me, I am learning how to deal with me and fortify that and stay disciplined. It's not an easy journey. It's very, very hard. No, I'm not going to say it's very, very hard. It's challenging, because these spell words, I am learning
Yes.
that the more we speak these things into our lives, the more we are giving it our energy, our power to work against us. And a lot of people don't realize that. But I've been checking a few people, males and females, and I don't really care how they feel about it. When they say certain things to me, I'm like, why would you say that to me? Why would you say that? Can you please take that back? And whether you take it back or not, I already returned it back to you. I'm not playing that, which people like to use these words that were not given to us. This is not our language, as we know. We're not even from here. So let's be clear about a lot of things. But for the purposes of us being here in this American meat suit, I am reminded that being alone is powerful. It's more powerful than the most powerful race car, the most powerful sunbeam that could ever come, more powerful than the moon shining and giving us light in the wilderness that's guiding us, that shadow you see when the sun is out. Being able to deal with yourself, staying self-sufficient. A lot of people don't realize that they are going to have to be self-sufficient and deal with that person that they avoid, maybe because they're on social media, because so many people are thumbsing up their videos and they got so many scrolling. Well, what would you do and who would you be if none of this existed and if it was all taken away? Would you be
Exactly.
able, like lights out? Would you be able to deal with yourself in the dark? Can you be that candle in the dark? Yeah. Can you be that candle in the dark when nobody else is around? Not lose your mind, keep everything together, be able to connect telepathy wise, connect to the creator, and not lose who you are, knowing that greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. Those things are things that I'm dealing with. If I don't have my kids, if I don't have my family, if I don't have my husband, if I don't have all of these external things that I have been able to collectively, I guess you can say, gain through my sacrifices of staying up late, finishing schoolwork, this and that, all the things that we do to get these aesthetics, these material things. And it's nothing wrong with that. We deserve these things because we work hard for it. But who are you if and when none of this stuff exists and you just have you? And you can't clothe this body with labels. Who are you naked? Who do you want to be? What are you prepping for? Because this meat suit is temporary and time only exists here. It don't exist where we are from. And if you don't know who you are, you won't know where you're going. You won't know what you are presenting within yourself right now. If I'm gonna leave it at that. Hmm.
Oh, yeah, just continue to flow. It's a beautiful
Yeah,
thing.
it's. I was watching a video and someone put it up on Instagram, and it was about Miss Wendy Williams, and she said her name, her full name, because her name is not Wendy Williams. I won't even say the name. And I looked at her, and she was being interviewed or whatever was going on. And I really looked at her, and I pick up people's energy. And a lot of people are on social media talking about her karma this and karma that. And we all have karma. It's not just her. We all are creating karma every day we open our eyes if we get the opportunity to do that. Stop beating up on our sister or brother, however you want to see her, him, whatever. Who are we to point fingers at her? And there's several more pointing back at us. Who are we to do that? I don't take joy out of seeing where Wendy is right now. That's not my purpose, my destination to see another being suffer. I don't take joy and pleasure out of that. And I find that the sickness that a lot of so-called black folk have taken on is to see another black folk in their misery and their pain, and they desire to stick it to them even more. Why? Why? Despite how you feel about what she's done, when others do it, Wendy ain't do nothing different than a lot of other people that are on platforms way before social media is the way that it is now. I don't have a problem with her. She didn't personally do anything to me. And I said something to someone that mentioned something to me regarding her for the purposes of me just talking about her. It's just something that was on my heart and my mind. And I said, people are mad because she aired out people's personal business, but who are you really mad at? Are you mad at the people who brought her the tea that she spilt? Or are you mad at the people who brought the tea? Like, let's be clear about this. She only shared what was given to her. Who are you mad at? But if she was of a different and in a different, would you still have that same energy? Would you? But because it came from her, we do each other. The lines are not that blurred. Read between the lines. I don't want to say too much because this is Lance's new channel, this reset. Read between the lines. They're not blurred. Lance?
Yes, I'm here, sweetheart. I'm listening. You're right, though. But the thing is that, and you're right in what you said, we don't want to say things are hard, because just like a seed, it has everything within it that it needs for life. Just add a little soil, a little water, a little sunlight. So it's up to us to make sure that we're in the right position with the right elements around us to thrive. It's different now. Where once you were the sperm that went out. You were the one sperm out of millions and billions that went out. Here we are now with other people around us, billions on the earth. But everybody can win. We're not in that much of a hostile environment when you look at it, even though it's quite hostile in this world. We all have a brain, we all can think, and we all have to know that what people call problems, I call challenges. Problems is a word that has so much weight, brings so much confusion, has no light. I use the word challenge because while it may sound as though I'm stuck on myself, I'm not. I'm stuck on the Creator and what He told me in my heart. That He made me, she made me, and I'm made by the best. So I don't have to feel as though I have problems. I have challenges because I'm a champion. And if anybody out here who has given up on himself in a toxic way, many people will feel down. We're human. We're going to feel that. We're going to feel drained physically, mentally, or spiritually, or a combination of any of those. But the bottom line is you must know that every challenge has a solution. And you were born to be a winner. You were born with a mission. You're born as a champion. And you will win. But all you have to do is look within to know that you have every element of what you need. So whatever's thrown at me in this life, that's the mentality that my parents put in me to the core. That when you get knocked down, that's a chance to prove the greatness of the Creator. And He'll give you everything. And she'll give you everything. I have to say the he and the she because it's a combination of both energies. Although in modern religion, they only focus on the man in a little statue with the little naked boys, which I don't know what that is. And I'll keep it PG-13. But we have everything on all levels. So there's no fear here. I just want to discover what's already there. I may not know every tool in the toolbox, but I know that each one has its own purpose. And each one of you who are listening to this, you all have a purpose, whether you know it or not. It may not be for you to know it until you're 70 years old. It doesn't mean that the prior years of your life were a waste. So there's no time limit on self-discovery. Some of us seem to get it early because that's the way it's supposed to be. Every corn in the bag of popcorn is not made to pop at the same time. I've said this many times before. As soon as you put that bag of popcorn in the microwave, there's always that one that boom, quick. Then there's a pause. And the majority of them start to fire off around the same time. And although you know that there's a certain time limit that the instructions say on the bag or the side of the bag, you can kind of eyeball it or ear hustle it. Because when it stops popping as much, you know that pretty much most of the corns in the bag are popped. And we're surprised sometimes when we cut the microwave off, and the minute it's off and we open up the door, 2 or 3 pop. Those 2 or 3 are the ones that discovered their destiny later in life and their mission later in life, but you can't tell which one it is when you open up the bag to eat the delicious popcorn. So never feel bad when your realizations don't come like the next person that's standing next to you, or another member of your family, or a very good friend. Because even though we walk together, we all have our own path. We all have our own road that we have to travel. Unless you were born a twin. And even twins have their own path. No matter how identical they look, they're still, although connected divinely, they're still their own entity. And they have to face themselves when it comes time to that eternal ride on their own. But what a luxury it is to have a twin. But the bottom line, like I said, it all comes down to your integrity. And that's something that we don't know how much we have, or we know how much we have and don't have, but we don't know how much the next person has. But the smile will fool you. The smile will fool you. And there are many good people out here. And I want to applaud the good people out here who I've been blessed to cross paths with. And I won't focus on the others. Just like the part of the fruit that you pull off the orange skin, it has a purpose if you collect it and have it smell up nice in your bedroom. It's potpourri. But pretty much you don't walk around with that in your pocket. You focus on the part that you're going to eat that's going to nourish you. So I've learned through observation and through the teachings of my parents that the toxicities that we accrue through life, if we hold on to them, it's not going to do us any good at all. It doesn't mean that when you see it approaching you in the form of another person that you allow it on in. Because when you had to deal with it before, it was a learning experience. Now, if you keep on walking back to that same situation, that's on you. But you discard of that. And the most successful people in this life, to me, it doesn't mean you have to have millions and millions of dollars, because it doesn't take that. There are many that I know who have lots of money. I know several millionaires personally. And they know I would never ask them for a dime. And I know some who have millions who are full of wisdom, and the money didn't ruin them. So we can't just knock on wealthy people. But it's about the integrity and the principles on the inside. That's the real wealth. If you can get out of this world that is going more and more into a downward spiral of low vibration, one big pot of low vibrational soup that wants you to jump on in and render yourself useless. The time is moving on. But then again, that's just a marker, a man-made marker. But what is the real time? We know time doesn't exist. And it doesn't exist on the level that we came from, and it doesn't exist on the next level that we're going to. But we use it. It's a marker. Meet me at 3 o'clock tomorrow. Okay, we'll do that. But when I go and take a long walk out into the country, watching out for those snakes, I don't use time. I never saw an alligator with a watch on. I never saw a deer with a timepiece. But the time, the real time, which is not a measure artificially made by man, it's a sense of urgency that we have on the inside that guides us to doing what we need to do, and may I say it, a divinely timely fashion. The only time that I use now in my life when I have no appointments with other human beings, it's the sun. I look at the positioning of the sun and I can tell you down to the 5-minute period what time it is, the man-made time. And if I feel the need to go back to sleep and it happens to be 10:30 in the morning, I'll go back. If I happen to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, like I usually do, between 4 and 4:30, I usually stay up. I like that. Because everything for me now is governed from the inside on a divine level. We don't have to wait to transition to have a pre-transitional period in our life where we can enjoy the bliss of detachment from this madness. While it's a beautiful world when you walk in the world of nature, the man-made world is nothing but chaos, confusion, and a superficial soup that tastes nasty, that doesn't bring any satisfaction, true satisfaction. I don't want to trade off life force for a couple of pieces of paper that could be manipulated into not having any worth anymore. But yes, my foot is still in that system, but I'm working on it more and more where I'm out of it. I don't see the rabbits that I see paying mortgages. I don't see the bugs worrying about what property they're landing on. They land wherever they want. A bird flew over me the other day and landed a gift on my shoulder of excrement, letting me know that I don't really have the power that most of us think we have. I'm part of a big system, and it's for me to extract the wisdom out of it and move on. But we're never going to conquer this thing from our ego. We need to detach from it while being here, and time, the man-made version, does not matter. The peace and the stillness that you feel on the inside is so rewarding that, like my friend Julia said, the more that you can get away from people and the chaos that they can bring, the more and more you're going to enjoy it. And this conversation with you, my dear sister, is pure bliss. People will hear it in the future. It'll take time and grow. But this is me speaking from the heart. And when I speak to you, it takes me to a whole different level, just like the few who are listening right now. And that's the kind of stuff that I love, even if I'm by myself, to my own thoughts. Talk to me, sister.
Thank you, Lance. The flow is amazing when you can just speak from the dome, when you can just speak from your organic self, when you can just allow your thoughts to flow respectfully, honorably, spiritually, where you're not disrespecting yourself or anyone around you, especially the mother and the father. Because I was raised by my mother and father, and the teachings that they taught me in the home is what carried me throughout my childhood, my adolescent, my teenage years into my adulthood. And I could never pay them enough for what they have done for me, to me, with me. And even where I am now, I still pay homage to them for the lessons that they taught me. And our mother and fathers teaching us every day. This is why the word was given to us, so we can apply it to our lives. It's not coincidental that the Most High tells us to put on our whole armor. And what does that mean, really? Search it for yourself. Your armor that you put on is going to be different than the armor that I put on, because we're not the same. Your armor is going to fit your experiences, your history, your present, your future, and all the things that align with your life. Each one of our armors are different, collectively different. But at the same time, space and energy and elevation, who are you really here to please? Who are you honoring? We've been, and I can include myself in this without excluding myself. I'm not exempt from anything that I say because I'm a very caring, loving person. I care about people a lot, and it has nothing to do with this RACE, because that's not in the Bible. It's a word that was created. I planned for the marathon that I am prepping for this year. So that doesn't exist in my body, in my mind, or my spirit. But who are you? Ask yourself, whoever is listening to this, ask yourself, who are you looking to please? Because we are in the land of our captives, and you can give all the blood in your body. You can give everything, and it's like the never ending sinkhole. You could never give it enough. Well, that's sort of kind of how SATAN is, the open enemy. The more you give, the more that energy wants, until it's all gone. Because that mission is to get you up out of here earlier than you can reach your destination, your destiny, your purpose. But your mission is to make sure you get there. And no matter how you get there, just get there. in alignment, in order. Don't step on people to get there. But people know when their moral spiritual compass, as I mentioned in a previous show broadcast, that people have moral spiritual compasses, but it's what demons that have attached themselves to you that clog and calcify your moral spiritual compass.
Mm.
And just like you download apps, put them on your phone, whether it's a game, this, that, well, you can download spiritual block up poppers for yourself as reminders of where you don't want to be. The past is where the past is. Yes, it reminds us for so many reasons why they don't want history taught in school, because they want people to still disrespect our ancestors and not see that we are the idealists of this world. There will be none after us because there was none before us. And if it didn't matter, why did they give the sun blocker to the people to worship? You know, if it didn't matter, why cut the noses and make everything be one that it wasn't when it really is? What are you hiding? What do you want to keep from the people? You want to keep people sleep, like in Sleeping Beauty and all these other Disney cartoons, and you want to keep people buffooned and dancing and being clowns, forgetting that this is every move they make on this grand chessboard is to prevent you from being who the Most High Mother and Father wants you to be. We are all here to get something to take back. But we forget that. We think it's in money. We think it's in things that we attain, things that we purchase. Try purchasing something that's going to enhance your moral values, your principles, all of the things that we put in sentences and write letters about and use in our day-to-day conversations with other people. What matters to you? And I'm not saying all of this to say don't live. Buy what you want, live the way you want to live, but at the end of the day, don't be upset when things don't turn out the way you want it to because you don't want to put the work in. It's not about anybody else, it's about the individual. As I said earlier, when the lights, cameras are off and no one's saying action, you're not buying ring lights and doing the tick to the talk and IG and all of these other platforms you're on. When all of that is gone and you take the wig off, the lashes, and can't take the BBL off, but when all of this is not there, what really matters? Because we are living so external that we have totally abandoned the internal and just left it there. Like a snake sheds its skin. We've left the internal and we're following this robotic way of being on this realm here in this dome. I'm not here to convince anyone. I live and do what works for me because I know that I need to stay disciplined. I know that that is my power, part of it. And I know fortifying my mind and my heart so that I don't lose it. Because there's something down the pipeline that they're not telling us. They're not going to tell you because you need to pay attention to what they don't say. They're putting so much in front of you because they have to. Just like the open enemy, Satan, has to ask for permission before he can even tempt or even approach the Most High's people. There's even order in evil. A lot of people don't believe that. There's order in everything. But it's when you are out of order that you don't see that there's order in all things and everything is aligned. I don't know, but whoever is listening to this, just know that you are here. Your daddy's 3,000, I think it's 3,000 sperm cells did not reach your mama for you not to live a purposeful life. You didn't come here to be a placement holder. You're not a placement holder. Your purpose, your destiny, you just have to dig deep. DDD. Dig deep for your destiny. Oh, I just made that up, Lance. You like that? You can have it.
Well, I'm going to have to verbally plagiarize that one.
Because you know there's some spiritual plagiarisms out here as well. Because, man, we all been through some things. And it's
Yes,
what
we have.
you pull yourself out of that makes you who you are today. Because if you are still standing, you got through it. That challenge, don't see it as a struggle. Don't see it as all of these spellbinding words that keep you on a low vibrational realm. Elevate. Speak to yourself. Encourage yourself. Even if you never had it, no matter where you coming from, you can come from the most horrendous, horrific, horrible, whatever it is. If you were born and you are here for a reason. Every day you wake up, make yesterday jealous. Tell the truth about your truth, shame the devil. You are here for a reason. You got to know what that is. No matter what you are going through, if you went through it and you here, you're good to go. I don't know how many people ever watched Star Trek, but sometimes when they used to teleport or whatever they did, they used to come out and be like, ooh, and they got through it.
Yep.
It wasn't teleporting. It takes a lot of energy to morph into here, there, this, that. And I always said a lot of these cartoons, the Avengers and all of this stuff, it's about us. I have to give homage to our ancestor, Stephen Darby, because he said it's always about us. Everything they do is about us. But they scramble and put all these other little things in to confuse it and make it look like it ain't about us. Oh, yeah. It's never stopped being about us. You know? But you will not know this if you start in your morning, when you start your day off, calcifying your energy with eating and doing and abusing and allowing people and things to have access to you that they did not ask for permission, but you gave them permission exclusively. There's a reason why when you go in the club back in the day, they had the velvet rope and the VIP section. You are VIP. Not everybody needs to have access to you. You need to separate yourself from the people who came in the club, the ones who tried to come through the back door, and the ones that tried to get a discount to get into the side door. There's a difference between an opera show where the stage is elevated and the audience is looking down, and then you go to a hip hop or R&B, everybody looking up. Man is not supposed to be worshipped. They do that for a reason. Have anybody ever been here that went to an Alvin Ailey or an opera? I did.
Yes.
And you're looking down at the stage. Not saying that the performance is not worthy, but there's a difference. These people that we idolize, we're not supposed to. So the stage is set for a reason. Why can't it be an even thing? Like, let the stage of these artists be on the same level so you're looking directly at them, not up at them. While those I'ma shut up. But yeah, casting casting these things into the audience. You can't cast nothing if you're looking down at it because you can see the stage better than they can. You can see it coming. Does that make sense, Lance?
Yes. Yes. Makes perfect sense. And see,
I
the
don't
thing
want to.
is, this is why. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I don't want to bore anyone with what I'm saying. I'm trying
No,
to
no,
reach.
no, no, no. This is gold right here. This is pure gold. Keep
We
it
have
going. I
been,
know you got one.
yeah, we have been fooled. We have been bamboozled. There's a bait and switch that has happened. They have taken our lives. They are living our lives. We were taught wrong. I was in churchianity and religiosity as well. And they were taught how to teach us to keep us not digging inside of ourselves to realize ain't nobody coming here to save us. We don't have no savior. We are our savior. There's no other being on this planet that's going to save us from ourselves. Who's going to save you but you? That's no different than you being on the airplane and the oxygen mask fall. They tell you to put it over yourself first, then the next person next to you. Use that as a platform into your life. No one's going to save you. There's a reason why all of these external things were given to the people, a certain people, and they water it down and black you out with all of these other things. Why? If none of that mattered, because of course there's gain, whether it's financial, there's gain for the powers that shouldn't be. There's reasons why they do what they do. They don't want you with the truth. So they take it and they think because they took it that it's going to empower them. It's not, because it don't belong to them. So they're going to have to give back what they took. Period. You got to give back what you took, including his people. This is why they don't want rep to the rations. And everybody else is coming here able to live off the land that our ancestors built. I will say no names to bear no blame. But it's disrespectful. But then we are being disrespectful to one another. If we don't get ourselves together, we can't expect anybody else to treat us any different than how we're treating one another. And that's just my opinion.
Amazing. Amazing. See, yes, there has been so much that has been done to us, but we should have learned from it. See, there's something wrong. There's a malfunction there. There's just something about the process of healing that should have been happening that hasn't. We've been so used to being symbolically on the bottom where people have told us that's where we belong, that we begin to believe it. And when we believe it and internalize it, it gives us a toxic safe haven to not require ourselves to be better than what we have held on to that someone else convinced us. It's like the pile of bills that's up on the dresser. Now, I know that may not exist as we pay our bills online, but if we can remember when it was just the paper bills and we put it up on a stack as we worked and toiled, and we knew we fell behind with some things, but we didn't want to face paying everything because we thought it was too much. So we remained in denial, and the pile got higher. And then one day we just got so sick of not only seeing the dresser in the bills, but we got sick of even going into the bedroom that had the dresser with the bills. We couldn't get away from it. And the mail kept coming in. And it's to the point where we just despised seeing the mailman show up. Until that day came where we said, listen, I can't live like this anymore. Let me look at these bills. Let me call up these people who I owe this money to and work something out. And when you finally faced what you were running away from, you realize it wasn't as bad as you thought it was. So those bills now are the projected realities of what the other has put into our mind. And we've got to come to a place where we're sick and tired of believing a lie, sick and tired of manifesting an illusion that did not come from you, that did not come from your creator. And we know that it's not right because it's almost like having a size 8 foot wearing a size 7 shoe. You can get by for a while when you curl up your toes, but you can't go on being cramped like that, trying to squeeze into something lower than what you were made for, trying to fight hard to remain lower so you can please that one who's convinced you that he and she are better than you. Out of the womb, I was blessed to have parents that told me who and what I am. And this is why I've always run into opposition when I ended up being the stubborn one who just didn't want to embrace your lower vibrational projections on my life. And many people who would just want to go along to get along never understood me, never understood why I wouldn't want to take the safe road of being less. But those bills were always on my dresser, but they wouldn't stay for long. And I know the feeling of being free from within. So anytime there was a bill that started to pile up, it wouldn't even pile up, wouldn't even hit the top of the dresser. By the time it wanted to hit the wood, I'm snatching it. I became predatory on anything that I saw over the horizon that would be bad for me to have to squeeze my foot in a shoe that was too small, for me to wear pants that's a size or two too small, a shirt. No, I'm going to be comfortable. I'm going to walk tall. I'm going to talk with all of the bass that my creator gave me, and I don't have to talk in the higher octave and reduce myself and walk in a way where I'm 5 inches shorter than what I should be because of somebody else's insecurity that knows who and what I truly am, who has hid that away. But no, even if they're a stranger in passing in the street, when they see my stride and see my gaze, I'm not stuck on myself by saying this about myself. I'm saying this about all of us who are enlightened, who know who we are. And of course, with the hidden information, we're getting it better every single day. We may not be able to say everything, but we know what we have and feel on the inside. And I will never insult my creator. I will never insult my parents to walk around and not only be less, but to try a different role or try to be in a different role and go into the same bathroom that my mother went in, to wear the type dresses that she wears. No, we got a problem here. I don't have the problem. I have the challenge. But anybody who comes to reduce me, they got the problem. Because I'm not. No matter how uncomfortable they try to make it for me, I'm never going to stop being this person, because I know that's another way of lighting the flame in the heart of other people who go through the same thing, who have a choice to make. Either they're going to submit to insulting their creator, or they're going to make the creator proud. No matter how uncomfortable it may be, this is not eternity. And I'm ready to fight every day. And while I may say, subscribe to the new channel, if you don't, I'm going to keep on going. If you don't like it, I'm going to keep on going. If you take it down, I'm going to keep on going. Because I wasn't made to be a size 12 foot to fit in the world of a size 11 shoe. I'm busting through that shoe, spreading my toes and digging it into the soil so I can remain grounded and connected as I look up and gaze into the sun. I'm not buying it. The sun blocker. They say, worship the sun. But I'm inside looking at someone who has given me a hard time all my life and all my prior ancestors, and he blocks the sun in the stained glass imagery. But we should be outside. So the real giver of life, that sun that feeds the plants, that gives us vitamin D and so much more than science has ever even discovered. You don't get sun for a few days, guess what? You feel down. That thing that's on the stained glass window with a halo over its head and a sun behind it is telling you. And who today tells you that they want to block the sun? Do you worship him? Who's not even a scientist, who has no knowledge of anything medical, but because of the money and his ideology with those who are in the hidden organizations, they exalt him. And we're supposed to ignore the divine commands and the divine downloads that we get to help us navigate this system, to listen to something that's dead who can't take the sun? It's a no-brainer, that answer. And not because I reside now on 0 latitude and 0 longitude up in the mountains, but I can see from my view in the mountains, the spiritual mountains, not just the physical mountains. That's not enough. It's a nice view. But when you ascend up to the mountains and you look down on those who haven't climbed as high yet, you have a different perspective. You can see what's sneaking up on them where they can't see, because they're still down there. And this is why they fight so hard to keep us down there. I see more backsides within 10 minutes on Instagram than I do on a nude beach on a crowded Saturday afternoon. Yes, I've been to nude beaches. Why are they bombarding us to activate something that's righteous in an unrighteous way? You have your mate when you have. You appreciate them behind closed doors as they walk from one room to the next, and you kind of steal a glance. And you say, my God, she's so wonderfully made. They take something that's natural and they give a spin of the unnatural. How am I in the locker room in the gym with those who have the same thing hanging like I do? And I'm looking at who's next to me the same way I'm looking at my woman. This is what they want. Not only to block the sun, but the symbolism of that stained glass. To block the downloads of righteousness by giving you something that's a substitute. And throughout all your trauma, generation after generation, you see, back in the 70s when Roots came out. That miniseries. That was so hardcore for the time because there was so many of us that had no clue. But with so much knowledge around today, and you look at Roots now, it's mild. I'm not trying to minimize, but if they put out something that was more realistic now, because of the knowledge that we have, we say, wait a second, that's rated G. And because it was a mini series, I believe that went on for a week, we tend to think that we can compartmentalize something so traumatic in history. Not that we're supposed to stay there. But we have to understand if those entities, who are the descendants of those entities, had their way, they put us back in the same place. And our ignorance today is allowing them to do just that. The pickpocket always has somebody working along with them to distract you, to make you look left while they're standing to your right, going in your pockets. All of this false projections put out on what reality should be, that we suck so hard like a baby sucking the nipple of that sweet milk from the mother's breast. But we're sucking on the wrong nipple these days. We're sucking on the wrong spiritual nipple. We're sucking on the wrong cerebral nipple. And many times, behind closed doors, we're sucking on the wrong physical nipple. Doing things that we've been brainwashed to do. Doing things that are diametrically opposed to the divine instruction of what we should be, to take us off the path, to gradually break us down generation after generation. This is a long-term plan, but it's working faster than even the one who crafted the plan anticipated. You plan on getting somewhere far to another country, and they say the flight is going to be 11 hours. But because of the backdraft and the wind working in your favor, you feel yourself descending after 9 hours and 20 minutes. And you say, what's going on here? And you hear the announcement, we will be landing at the airport in Accra in 15 minutes. And you're amazed. Well, those who are oppressing our minds with the invisible chains that are not physical anymore, but they're cerebral and spiritual. They've taken on natural desires and amplified them, because on the menu of lust called social media, we get to see things all day long to keep us in that state of the lower desire. It's not a lower desire when it goes according to righteous plan. Love, attraction, togetherness, procreation, commitment, the work done together. That's what builds families. That's what builds communities. That's what builds a righteous world where you don't need Social Security. You have those who are younger, who have benefited from your labor when they were younger. And as you get older, they honor you for your wisdom, and they come to you for advice, that even though now they're younger and stronger than you, they understand that you're a crucial part of the community. But our communities have been broken up. We merely have neighborhoods. We can't even say neighborhood anymore. All we say is hoods. And when you have a hood on, you can pull the hood over your head where the people who are near you don't know who you are because they can't see your face. The people who know you good don't understand that hood will allow you to get up on them. So this is what has happened. We don't know each other anymore. We don't connect with each other anymore. And now they have this thing called social distance, and the worst of it is coming. What you experienced 4 years ago was just a trial run, 4 short years, but it left a mark on our brain, our psyche, and most of us will submit faster because now we know the drill. Just like the fire drill in elementary school, and you got a break from the class for a few minutes. When the teacher wasn't looking, you can goof off because now you had to go through the fire drill that in case of fire, this is where you run to. So now they're waiting to sound the bells and utilize the news platforms so that you can assume the position of subservience and not think for yourself because you want to be in that safe space. Like those people who don't want to challenge the engineered system because they know they have a natural right to be free. We're not captive because somebody took us over. There's no chains on me, but the chains are in our mind. And we stay put, waiting for the order, like a trained puppy. So don't talk about revolution when you can't even challenge what's in front of you and live the way you want to live and go to the parts of the world that you want to go to and walk tall and strong, which is an insult to that one that really understands that they have never conquered you. Oh, I'm going out in a blaze if you even think you're going to come where I live and change my physical system with something to wipe me out. You're going to get it immediately. Because growing up, I saw my father as the man he is. His body is not here anymore. It's back to the earth. But the energy that he passed on to me in this relay race, the body's gone. Still circulating. Part of the trees, part of the soil, part of the water that was in him. But the spirit, that baton given to me, I got it in my grip and I'm not letting it go. You can take down what you want to take down. I'll get out on the street corner with a bullhorn and light up as many candles as I possibly can. You don't rule me. You don't own me. You don't give me problems. I'm the problem maker for you. But I have challenges. There's an answer for every challenge. And I'm champion enough to know that you ain't breaking my spirit. And I'm always going to be the winner as long as I stay connected to what is righteous. To hell with the superficial social media. I'm not a wannabe revolutionary. I was born one. And I will fight you mentally, spiritually, and physically. Even if you knock me down and defeat me physically, you're not killing my spirit. That's what I'm here for. And this is what I'm going to be until I transition. But before I do, I'm going to pass the baton on to as many. And you look around, you say, oh my God, he inoculated his sisters and brothers with something good. And even though he's gone, damn it, he's still here. Talk to me, sister.
Ooh, wait a minute, Liz. I like that inoculation. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm just going to piggyback off of that and inject everything that I got from what you just laid down. I'm going to pick this baton up and go with it.
Beautiful.
We were not born broken or bent. All of what we were born into, we have to know within ourselves. This is why the sun blocker was created, so that we can be disconnected. It's something that you said you're not going to lose because you're going to stay connected. Nobody has power over us but us. But it's our beliefs that been injected into us that keeps us on a very low operation. It takes a lot to operate on our highest level in this meat suit. But you gotta fight through it. Like how them sperm cells fought to get to your mother's womb portal. You got to continue fighting because those sperm cells fought to get to your mother's portal so that you could be born. And I was thinking also about the Twilight Zone, how the man would wake up changed, but everyone stayed the same. I don't know how many people grew up on Twilight Zone, but I did. And I may be showing
Oh,
my age
yes.
a little something.
Let me just interject, right? Do you remember? Do you remember the first thing that came on was the Honeymooners at 11:30. Then Star Trek at midnight till 1, and from 1 to 1:30 it was the Twilight Zone, and then they shifted it. They gave us another one from 1:30 to 2. Oh
Yes.
man, those were the days. Honeymooners, Twilight Zone. Oh, I'm sorry. Honeymooners, Star Trek, and Twilight Zone. Golden times. I'll shut up. I just had to say that
It's
for old times'
okay.
sake.
It's okay, Lance. And in that order, in that order. But the sun blocker was and still is inexistent. And how many people in this room right now or listening to the playback would want someone to write their story for them versus writing it themselves? Leave that open and fill it how you see it fit to be filled. I wouldn't want anyone else writing my story, my life, my purpose, my destiny. And things have been written for us, given to us. And yes, that prep that they gave us several years ago, that prep exam, there's so many people who going to fall in line. There's not even going to need to be a prepping. All they're going to have to do is snap their finger and you back into that spell. Like hypnotism. At the snap of my finger, you're going to be here. And they can put you wherever they want you to put you because they done hypnotize you with all of this stuff that's going on. And like the Twilight Zone, you're going to wake up different and everybody's going to be the same. Where do you see yourself? Where would you like to be? If people don't realize by now that they have to live as minimalistically as possible, practice living within. Don't see it as living without. Practice living within minimalistically. We have everything inside of us we need. You don't know that the seeds are inside of the cantaloupe, the honeydew melon, the papaya, the peppers, and all of these things. Cut it open and you'll see. Count it. Count how many seeds, if you like, are in a red pepper. Count how many seeds are in a papaya. It'll settle you. It'll make you think about your life a whole lot better than sitting here and allowing yourself to be controlled and placed mentally, spiritually in positions that you don't feel comfortable with. It's okay to be different. It's okay to be that candle in the dark. It's okay to not follow. How many people grew up with parents that said, you can't do what your friends do? You better not. I
Uh-huh.
know I grew up with parents like that. You can't do what your friends do. And you got that prep talk before you left the house that we getting ready to go here, there, this, and that. And you better not act up. Back in the day, parents only had to look at you. They did not have to yell, scream, pull out no wooden spoons, have no asperus, no, oh, not asperus, have any of those doggy chains and all that other stuff that people wrap around their kids to keep them close. I know they're necessary with some children who have mental delays that their children need that to put on them so that they don't wander off. Kids who are challenged with that. I understand that portion. I have a few family members and of mine who are suffering from a lot of those mental delays. I like to call them mental delays. Don't mean that they're slow. I think a lot of these children, I know a lot of these children are very intelligent. They just have their own way that they communicate. They have their own way that they enter over and understand. on their own level. They're on a whole different plateau, planet. But people, they give it names so that they can give it the prescriptions. And sometimes we have to know that it's okay to unsubscribe to certain things. Um, that's very important to be set aside and not go with the crowd, with the herd. You know, I never saw zebras running with buffaloes. They don't they don't run and hang out in the same area. They don't. You will never see, and it's just not gonna happen because it's against nature. So when we look at what's going on and the terror that has been put upon the people and the disrespect and the you don't really matter type of behavior, like in the skit that Dave Chappelle did, Move Darky. That's one of my favorite episodes that David Chappelle used to do, to Move Darky, because it was so symbolic. I used to be like, what? You, he's amazing, extremely intelligent, extremely.
Oh, by all means. Yes, yes, indeed. I love him.
His comic is mystical, and there's no blurred lines. It's either you get it or you don't.
I have to say it real quick. The quick little skit he did where the guy stole the chocolate bar out of the car. And he was mad and he was going around looking. He said, "There he goes. I found him. Why did you break my glass to get the chocolate?" And the guy turned around and was a crackhead. He said, "It's not chocolate, it's doo-doo, baby." You know what he was doing out there to make money?
Man,
Oh my God, it hit me so
yeah,
hard. I'll shut up. I gotta play that later on today.
yeah, Dave, man, look, he's a genius. I say it, he's a genius. But as I mentioned in my insertion of picking up where you left off, we were not born to be bent or broken, and yet we have been broken, and yet we have been bent. And I don't mean the bent way where you want to be pleasing to the masses and take whatever it is that they give you so that you can go along to get along. That's never been me. I probably would be a lot more fiat successful if I did. I Yeah, it makes you think about things. But just if I have to say anything in closing, people listening, try your best to live minimalistically. I'm not just talking physically, I'm talking what you eat, I'm talking what you see, what you listen to. Take a day to detach from all gadgets, all social media. Take a day to just have one meal a day. Take a day to sit with yourself. Take a day to do without. Take a day to sit in nature and see what survival skills you have, even if it's in your backyard. If I didn't have these lights, if I didn't have this, and this, how would I survive? Take it back to nature, because nature is the answer. Lance?
That's so beautiful. And we need nature more than ever. Nature is not just a trip to go out and walk amongst trees, but it's the vibration of nature. It's the external womb. See, we have our homes, and I always say it, home rhymes with womb. And in conclusion, I'll say this last bit. And in our homes, we're supposed to emulate the conditions that were in effect in our mother's womb. And it's not going to be exactly like that. But the home is to protect you, to feed you, to nourish you, give yourself a place of rest, and to protect you from the elements that can sometimes be destructive while you rest. But then there's another womb in nature. They're realizing now that the insects are talking to each other and communicating. We're so hung up on ourselves, feeling as though that we are the higher beings, and we have the potential to be that, but we don't practice in a way and meditate to get there. Take it for granted. And like a muscle that's not worked and exercised, it shrinks. But when we get out into nature, we hug the trees, we see the insects and what we call the animals, because technically we are animals too. We fear them sometimes, the elements. But do you realize, and I realize it more and more, I am in the mountains, surrounded by nature, an unbridled nature, where I hear animals that I don't even know what the heck I'm hearing. It's not the usual common things that I heard in America. And I say to myself, they're out there in pitch darkness with nothing on, but they're healthy and they're living. And yes, there is a food chain where they may have predators, but every animal that has an animal higher on the food chain is equipped to defend itself. Whether it's a skunk that can stink up the area and repel anything, or a small animal that has sharp teeth, or is equipped with agility and quickness to get away. They're all equipped. But yet here we are. And what we feel is an advanced civilization, suffering from depression, suffering from nervous breakdowns, confused, not motivated. So we go to the pharmacy, we go to the so-called doctor, who oftentimes is not a healer. And we forfeit the free thing that can heal us up, called nature. That if we fall in line with nature, we'd be so much stronger. Because if we were removed from our homes and stripped naked and put into the triple darkness of the forest and the woods, the mentality, independence that we have on the man-made engineered world would be revealed, because we'd freak out. We lost our instincts. We lost our connection. We gave it up for the shiny little red things and trinkles and baubles and rubies, only to lose who we are. Remember those who raised you. If you were out of line in the supermarket or in public, they would give you one look and you knew exactly what it was, and you fell in line. We had a connection to each other. We also had a connection to nature. Nature supplies us everything, including peace of mind and tranquility. And this is the reason why the deeper we're in the man-made engineered systems is the more we have a craving to go to the Caribbean, to go to the park, to get away from it all, because we know we're suffering and we're cutting ourselves off from the true sun, the true nature that gives us life, that supplies everything for free. Where in the man-made system, we have to pay by giving up our life force for a piece of paper to now get something that's GMO, to now get companionship because we make a little more money. So that's why the woman wants to be around us, those who are lower vibration. What happened to the joy of us sitting across from each other with a home-cooked meal and a deep conversation? What happened to holding a young lady's hand when you're a man and the electricity between the both of you was so sweet? But now we rush into the intimacies and don't feel a damn thing because there's nothing behind it. We're reduced. We're cut off from nature. We're cut off from the way that we're supposed to be. And we push harder and harder, getting these addictions, leaving us numb, leaving us depleted, reaching for something in the man-made world that it will never give us. The only thing is the natural way. And that will protect us, and that will keep us strong. So oftentimes we hear older folks who said, well, you know, my life might have been a little harder. I didn't have the blender. I had to whip up the cake mix with a bowl and a spoon. We had to get up and pick our food, but it was fresh. These vegetables that we eat that sit on the daggone shelf, and fruits for 3 months and still look good. There's no nourishment in it. And we've gotten out of nature. And so to each other, there's no nourishment between ourselves. What happened to seeing a friend and you're so happy just to see him and sit down in the park? But what we call friends now, we throw off on each other. Look at the brand new shoes I bought. Look at the name brand bag that I have. We're all messed up, but it doesn't have to be that way. We need to go back to the original way, because anything this wicked man creates is never going to be nourishing to our souls. And we're cheating ourselves in this life. Because just like that stained glass man on a Sunday morning in that building who's blocking the sun, we're blocking ourselves and allowing ourselves to be blocked from the true vibration of each other. What a beautiful people we are. But we can't see through the windshield on a Sunday drive if it has nothing but mud on it. We can't see through the beautiful glasses that we wear if it's dirty. And we're so fooled now that when we wear those dirty glasses, we think the natural world is dirty. But it's those glasses that cover our true eyesight that's fooled us. The only way to see it for what it is to pull those glasses off. Pull yourself away, like our sister said, from the social media. I know my role in social media. I'm like a man who works in the sewers, like Ed Norton did on The Honeymooners. It stinks sometimes, but I know I have a job to do. But I'm not addicted to being in that place, but I know I'm cleaning somebody up. No matter what happens, I'm always going to love all of you who are striving to be better and go higher, as many of you have inspired me, and you keep me going. Just for me to do my little part, just to do my little mission. I don't think higher of myself, but you being here validates me, and it brings me great joy. With oh, what wonderful brothers and sisters I have around me. But yes, sister, I'll let you have the final sentences, and we can sign off.
Thank you, Lance. What came to me right now is liberation is not going to come through or from our colonizationers. I don't know if that's a word, but that's what was in my energy right now.
It's a word now.
Our
And I know
our
exactly what you meant. So it's a word now.
no blurred lines here. Read between
That's
the
right.
lines, people, because this censorship that is monitoring ain't nothing but demonic spirits. And they want to monitor you. And why do they work so hard? Just ask yourself this question. Why do they work so hard to keep us silent? It's to prevent you from reaching and elevating and ascending. You can
Yes.
ascend and still be living here in this meat suit, ascending with your own set of mind, your own set of thoughts. That's something that was God given to us. They want to take all of that away and control you. Now, those who like hands up their backside and talking when the hands move and move when the hands move, no, I want my spiritual property. I want to be able to move how I'm supposed to move. And the way that I do believe that I can fortify that and do that is stay disciplined, stay obedient, stay fasting, stay praying, staying in order. And maybe not in that order, but staying obedient to my mother, my original spiritual mother and father before I had a physical mother and father.
Yes.
Those things are so important. The yoke and the burden, they're not hard. We make it hard. And I thank you for this opportunity, Lance, and all the shows that I listen to, all the guests you have on. It's so powerful. So powerful. Uh, I know your parents are so proud of you because we, as your audience, I can speak for me, from what you continue to do, what you have done, your body of work, what you've put your hand, your mind, and your spirit in. This is why people like yourself and I wake up in the twilight zone, that we are changing daily. And we realize a lot of things around us are staying the same, but it doesn't stop us from continuing to move. We got to move. Our feet are in front of us. We got to move.
Yes.
We got to move. Just like you danced on that dance floor when the music, well, where did you go when the music stopped? Not everybody went to the hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. Those who know. Some people went home because they had to work the next day.
Yes.
But I thank you, Lance. I thank you from my whole heart. I thank you. Change these spell words we speak into our lives. Because I believe when we speak them, we are inviting those negative entities to enter. We got to be very careful. And I speak for me. I'm learning to word change. Yeah.
Yes.
Like we change our mind. Change your words. Change what you speak over yourself. Change what you speak into others as well. Because when you change what you speak in you change what you speak in others.
Yes. We're all interconnected. And sometimes the best way to change others is to be an example of what change is.
Right. And I'm learning to mind my business in the process of it all. I'm in a mind my business state of mind. And I'll close it with that. I thank you for this opportunity.
And I thank you for this opportunity to vibe with you. And this time that we spent will be forever burnished in my mind. And I'll forge forward, and nothing will ever discourage me as long as I know you and everybody who's here. And those who don't know about this channel, that will find out that we keep on going. We keep marching, and we never look back. I thank you, my sister. And I'm looking forward to the next one. I'm here always. And another masterpiece put down is because of you and everybody here. And I have to say it in a joking way. My name is Lancescurv, and I approve this message. Sister H.E.R.R, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm signing off. Lancescurv out. Like, share, and subscribe, and actually share it. You got to grow these numbers, but it will come.
Peace and love,
too.
everyone. I love you guys. I love people. I love being in this life. Love who you are. You were made for more than what you see.
Yes. We're going to make a lot of t-shirts out of this show. The next couple of days, you'll see.
Right.
You have a good night, my sister. And I'll be working on some things. And I want to tell everybody to make sure to always go to Lancescurv.com, because there will be videos there that you will not see on this channel, that will be a little more hardcore, that will be on other video platforms, but they'll always be there. Okay? So sometimes a day may go by where you may not see a video or two on this channel, like the old way. Okay? And it's all going to be there, as well as other offerings. Sometimes, like you say, what may look like a catastrophe is a cloud with a silver lining. And this is why I'm so happy, because the old shackles are off, and we're free to fly higher. Anyway, my sister, I'm going to sign off. We're going to have our steamrolling 18-wheeler come on through and let the credits roll out. And I look forward to the next time. But thank you. You are truly a gift, and everybody who is here. All right? Much love to you all. Take care, and so long.
for this matter, actually today I got to meet my friend Lance. Yes, I got to meet my friend Lance. This is my first time meeting him in person, and he's a very kind man, seriously. I do talk with him on phone, on WhatsApp, but I've never got to meet him. But today, he's just extraordinary. He's very, anything you want to know about life, anything you want to know about just human, anything you want to know about life, please. YouTube, Telegram, Instagram, Twitter, all the social media channels, you got to find him there. He's very inspiring. He's very positive. If you want anything positive about life, please subscribe to Lancescurv. And then every day you got to see different videos, different talks, different topics about life. See you.
Make sure to go to Lancescurv.com, an online magazine established in 2001. Containing written articles, thousands of talk shows and discussions, cutting-edge cartoons, as well as erotic expressions and tasteful adult photography. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. Once you get a taste of the world of Lancescurv, trust me, you'll be back for more. Lancescurv.com. Bold, raw, and uncut. Make sure to